All right, we're here. How are you
We're
doing?
here. Welcome back. How are you?
Good. It's been a fun-filled weekend, doing nothing but homework.
Yeah,
But here
homework.
we
Yeah.
are. How was your work weekend?
Weekend was good. It was like, yeah, busy, kids getting back to school routine and everything. And I was decluttering a lot yesterday because, the kids come home with like so much paper. And I've just been like
Mm.
compiling it and all this artwork. And I'm like, I'm not going to keep all of this. So just picked
You
a
know this is
few.
recorded,
But
right?
my daughter
You're gonna.
But my daughter sees it and she's like, "Why are you throwing this away?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna keep everything."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll they'll learn.
Mm.
Good. Well, gosh, it's like the end of summer, right? Everyone's going back to school. The kids are back, so people are coming back from their
Yeah.
their own summer break here in Houston. I think that's kind of the moral of the story, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Um, yeah. People are coming back. We did a lunch last week at the Nexus. Right? Was that last
Hmm.
week,
Yeah,
Jason?
yeah.
So we had a few people show up. Hmm.
Yeah, that was good. We had a good set of folks come through, and I think it was getting back into the stream of things. I also went to an Activate happy hour that was at the Ion. That was pretty nice. It was good to just hang out with founders. We got to get back and doing our town hall, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But ran into Adil Joffrey there, which was good.
Mm.
One of
Oh,
the members
good.
of our
Yeah. Mm.
ecosystem.
Is he like one of
And
the advisors there at Activate?
I'm gonna go with yes is my answer.
Yeah, I
So,
think he is, right? Yeah.
yeah.
But that's good. I'm glad you ran into him. He's, one of our, um, he's a part of our investor program, big supporter of a lot of our companies and what we're doing. So, um, and I know he keeps
Yeah.
himself really busy. So,
Yeah. He was traveling all through Asia, and I'm not gonna, I guess, break any news here, but they're looking for fund too. So they're starting to connect with their own LPs. Um, let's see. I think the other thing that we had, gosh, we had a couple of sessions to support kind of the program star on Pilotathon last week, right? Did you
right.
do the various webinars we hosted?
Yeah, I attended part of them, and I'm just like looking at my calendar so I could tell you which they are. But two of them were by our partner Naviscale, which is a Halliburton company, and Naviscale is really set up to support startups on their scaling journey. And so it's really exciting to partner with them for Pilotathon because that's really what we're doing for the Pilotathon is bringing companies to pitch their pilots and putting them in front of corporates. And so Naviscale gave training to our pitching companies, but also to our member companies on how to scale, what to keep in mind when you are kind of manufacturing new products and really scaling that manufacturing process. And also how they can support along the way and how they support companies and what are the challenges that they see. So we had all our companies, at least the ones that are pitching, join for that. And it was a very engaging session with a lot of them sharing, their supply chain struggles and their challenges, etc., that
What
they've all
what
faced. Hmm.
what's an example struggle that really stuck out in your mind
It's
without naming names?
yeah, without naming names, it's like just the uncertainty of sometimes not knowing the someone who might be producing a small piece for your entire manufacturing process, and the risk that you might entail if you kind of overburden them, like Halliburton was saying, with saying, okay, we need 10,000s of these nuts and bolts or whatever that might be. Could be a small piece, but then suddenly that they might be overwhelmed by that scale. And
Mm,
so how do you assess your supply chain that they're going to be able to grow with you as you scale and as you grow? Um, because sometimes you can run some of these smaller suppliers to the ground by some of the orders that you might have
mhm.
because they're not able to fulfill them.
Hmm.
So that was interesting to see, the complexity within the supply chain. It's not just about like choosing the right suppliers, but like how do you assess them and how do you assess, their own sustainability in terms of like being around. Because sometimes you might just go with the cheapest supplier, but doing your due diligence to make sure that they are going to last,
Yeah.
as long as you're going to last at least.
And
Um,
then there was
mm.
a capital strategy as well session. Did you participate in that one?
Yeah, I didn't attend that one, but I know that was again by Naviscale, and I heard it was a good session. We also then on Friday did kind of a mingling session with our co-pilot participants,
Mhm.
just kind of providing them with the basic information that they need for the co-pilot program, and just getting people to get to know each other. So that was really good too. And
It's
what I'm
good.
really excited about are for both the pilotathon pitches and the co-pilot pitches is a lot of these companies are coming from out of town. So there'll be new companies, new names, people that we haven't heard of or are not familiar with some of their specific technologies. So I'm really excited to introduce them to Houston during Houston Climate Week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. And Steve's talking about how vendors can be key investors. I think there's two ways to do
Mm.
this. One, payment terms are like a way to create cash flow. And one of the things that you want to do as any business is get paid by the customer up front and then pay your vendor last. And you can kind of create 100 days of working capital if you're really good at it. Easy to do if you're in a hot market, hard to do if vendors have all the control. Um, but that's one way to kind of free up capital. And the other thing that can be key is sometimes where you can ask a vendor to come in and kind of invest in a long-term relationship, put up the capital for the non-recurrent engineering, and either come in as an investor or pick up a royalty, essentially. And the royalty might mean they get paid a larger percentage of what they would normally get versus a regular manufacturing contract, but it's a way for them to take a little risk and then get paid back. And so basically, you have a higher price for maybe the first 100 or 200 units of production. You're locked in with them, but then that kind of goes to a more market rate after they've gotten their NRE paid back. Um, so there's definitely a couple of ways to do it and a couple of ways to be creative. And I think it's more about getting partners who are aligned around the same vision of like, how do we get this game changing product out in the world? And if we have confidence that we can get it built and shipped, then we can have confidence we can make money and everyone makes money. So
Mm.
it can definitely be a win-win. And I don't know if they covered it during that session, but the biggest risk of kind of working with a strategic partner like that is if they're too close on technology. Sometimes it can be challenging for a small company to kind of show how their technology gets made. And so it's one of these things where it can be show a vendor how it gets made because then there's opportunity for theft. There's always a fine line of like what's a good partner. They can put out capital and be there to support us in supply chain. But the moment it kind of gets into too much alignment on technology overlap, then it becomes dangerous. And so I think that is something you learn from experience. I don't know if there's like a rubric to give you the answer on when to go from one to the other, but it's an important relationship to cultivate.
What are some of the challenges you've had, Jason, with suppliers in the past, like with your previous company, for example?
Um, Sometimes, well, there was one time we bought a product that was didn't quite meet the specification on the table, and so as a early company, sometimes you read a spec sheet and you're like, okay, I think the product's going to deliver everything on the spec sheet, and then you get it and you kind of integrate it into the system, and then you turn everything on, and you're like, why is the system not working the way you expect? And you kind of do a root cause analysis, and you find it's a widget. In our case, it was a blower motor that was performing at about 70% of target. And uh, I think you come to appreciate, like as a manufacturer or someone producing product, like this is why you have kind of factory acceptance testing and then receiving testing. And we just didn't test the system because it was like low technology risk. You just kind of assume it works when it gets there, but it drove and brought down the performance of our whole system. Um, and to be honest, we just didn't have the people or the capability to do kind of the qualification or acceptance testing at the time. but it makes sense. This is why big businesses do it all the time. They want to make sure that the quality of what they're buying actually matches their expectations. Um, and I think it's a lesson that a business a lot of times is just the amalgam of these processes that get learned by blood, sweat, and tears. And that would cost us like $1 million in
Mhm.
the end to go off and fix it. But
Mm,
it it was hard to see ahead of time with the other 2,500 items on our bill of materials.
mm,
Um, and uh, even when you build something and you put kind of risk factors in, on that component, we said low technology risk. We said, okay, maybe plus or minus 10%. We didn't predict the 30% deviation. And I think that was
mm,
where we really got stuck having to fix it. And
mm,
ultimately for us, the product still worked. It just had lower performance than what we were telling customers.
yeah. Yeah, and then
Mm.
we visited one of our startups in Texas, Jason, and I think what I also heard was like, sometimes you just don't have like when you're setting up for a pilot, for example, you just don't have you might not have all the budget that you need to create it.
Mm.
Obviously, you have limited money that you've raised, but you just kind of roll up your sleeves. And what I heard from them was like the whole team was like they're trying to like pipe things through and like
Mm.
make sure the exhaust is there and like everything in place. So it's you get creative
Yeah.
in terms of how are you going to bring the different pieces together to actually build a pilot at a cost that you can afford.
And the
Mm,
reality is if everyone knew, there would be no
mm,
risk, right?
mm,
And
mm,
you kind of make your best bet, and a lot of times no one's built this system before.
mm,
So it's
mm.
the cost of education,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um
Good.
want to talk about what's going on this week?
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we have some practice for. Oh, so if you're doing the pilotathon and you want to sharpen your pitch, we actually have a session tomorrow that's being hosted by Mark One. And that is for people who are participating in the pilotathon. You'll have received an email from me if you're participating or if you've signed up on to our application process. If you expect to have an invitation, didn't get one, reach out to the team. I think Pyle or Maisha will send you back details. But that's tomorrow at noon.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good one. Go ahead.
What's tomorrow at noon?
The pitch practice.
Oh, the pitch practice. Oh, yeah, with Mark
I think
one.
that's
That's
tomorrow.
true.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's tomorrow. That's true. Yeah. And then I was gonna say, for all the companies who might be listening who are pitching, all the pitching companies are also being offered a table to showcase. So if you don't want that, let us know. But we will have a table for you, so where you can set up your banner, your information. Um, yeah, and then most of the training events that we have for our pitching companies are also available to ETN members, except for the
Mhm.
pitching one, because that one we wanted to make it exclusively for the companies that are actually pitching.
Yeah, and there's only
Mm.
so much Madhav to go around, unfortunately. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
good. And then tell us about Friday.
Oh yeah, Friday. I'm really excited about our speaker. Let me pull that up. Oh, I'm on the past events on my Luma. Um, we have upcoming events. This Friday is our Determined to Lead lunch series. And we have Investing in Energy Transition Through Market Cycles by Ellen Wilkerson from Rev Innovation. So she'll talk about, how lately in particular there's been just basically the VC landscape has been pretty constrained. So there's not a lot of people have been holding on to their investments because they want to see some clarity in the market from the new administration, etc. And she'll kind of dive into that and talk about how we navigate those challenges as investors from like that investor perspective. So this will be at the Ion, which is in Midtown Houston, at the Chevron studio. If I'm correct, or am I wrong?
Mhm.
No, no, no. It's sorry. It is not at the Ion. It is at 820 Gassner. This one.
Yeah, that'll be at our live Oak Room.
Yeah, that's
Um,
at the Live Oak
that
Room.
that'll be that'll
Mm,
be a good one.
Mm.
I see Emily had a question. So I'm gonna let Nada look at and think about the first question. But for the showcase, Emily, if you applied, I think you're definitely getting a showcase spot. Don't worry, like we'll make sure
Yeah,
you have it.
Emily,
Go-
you have a showcase spot, so please check your emails that you haven't got any email with your acceptance to showcase, and if you haven't, we'll make sure to send you another one. You don't have to
Yeah.
reapply. Mm.
Do you know off the top of your head if she's got a pitch spot?
I don't think she has a pitch spot, but they
Okay.
have a showcase spot. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Mm.
here's the thing: if you're an Energy Tech Nexus member, there is a coupon code to get kind of free registration to participate. Please don't share it with other people. We've been having non-members register under membership codes, and we had to decline them and be like, "Sorry, you're still not approved." Um, but let's see, and I think if you're not able to find it, just let us know, and we can
Just let
kind of
us know.
manually do it on the
Shoot me
back
an
end.
email.
Yeah,
You should have received an email because I think, Emily, you applied for Copilot. You should have received an email from Payal or Maisha. Those are the two that are emailing people to let them know that they've been accepted for Showcase. And I know for sure you're on the list, but sometimes the email could go into your spam folder. And if you don't find it, just reach out and we'll make sure you get that.
I know what the real issue is that I send people too much spam, and then they ignore anything from Jason. So
Yeah.
that ends up happening too.
Yeah, but thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I think for any of our companies listening, if you have applied for pitching either for Copilot, we will give you a spot for showcasing. And if you haven't received that email, please reach out.
All right.
Mm. Yes, it's. I'm really excited. We're firming up our speaking program in the morning, and then we're going to have some good lunch, and then at 1 p.m. we'll start our pitching sessions. And while the pitching are going on, the companies will be showcasing. So it'll be kind of, what I liked about our event last year. People called it like it was like a carnival. There was just a lot happening. So it'll be a very similar vibe. Um, there'll be we expect about 500 to 600 people there,
Mhm.
and usually a lot of the industry leaders who are looking to invest are there. They were there last year at our event. A lot of investors are there, so it's a great place to be, even if you're not showcasing or pitching. Go get your tickets before we run out.
Yeah, we're at 131, I think, registered as of today. So
Hmm.
it'll be good. In terms of other things going on this week, I think I just saw this Supernova happy hour pop up on my calendar. That's gonna be on Thursday, and there's also the
Hmm.
energy transition on taps. So depending on what part of town you're on, I would look at either. The Supernova happy hour is going to be over in Memorial City with our friends at Metro National, and then the transition on taps is going to be at Greentown. They basically overlap, so pick which one based on where you are, and that'll probably be good for networking this week. And then of course we talked about Friday. Determine to lead is going to be a good one.
Mm. Yeah, so definitely come to the Determined to Lead if you haven't been to one before. And what we've said previously is like it says women's lunch because we're featuring female leaders. It's open to everybody. Um, Join us, especially if you're within the close to the energy corridor. We usually have good food, and a lot of great leaders from the industry show up, and it leads to a really good discussion and really good networking.
Yeah, good.
Mm.
I don't think I have much more for. Oh, I remember what I want to talk about. 827. Okay, by popular demand, the 2 Wednesdays from now, we're going to do a town hall. At the town hall, we'll talk a little bit more about Pilotathon, but importantly, I'll be coming with Topo Chico, and some drinks, and we'll do a kind of a classic catch up with our peers, talk about what we achieved over the summer, and share some good vibes. It's probably the last like slot we had on the calendar before we get into the rush for Pilotathon. So I hope to see you guys there. It'll be really good to kind of reconnect. I know it's been kind of not, I don't want to say touch and go. It's just been sparse. Everyone's been everywhere over the summer, so it's been hard to really get a big group together since before the 4th of July. So it'll be really good to reconnect and see y'all. And that'll be on the 27th. I think the Luma's already live.
Mm. Yeah, no, I look forward to meeting everybody again. I feel like it's been a while with the summer and people traveling,
Yeah,
and people are finally starting to, get their stuff together and get ready for our big climate week.
yeah, cool.
And then Jason, you're going to be traveling to New York Climate Week right after. So
Oh
if you're
yeah.
going to be there, please reach out and connect with Jason.
I know. I saw all the posts hit this week about like what you should expect for Climate Week in New York. I was like, we're supposed to issue our own for Climate Week in Houston, and we just haven't. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But it's time to start planning. So I'm going to be there, probably flying out Friday, if not Saturday. And then the whole week itself is going to be a bash. It'll be my first one, so I'm excited to be there.
Hmm. It's a good time to be in New York. Hopefully, not as hot as Houston is, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Yep. All
Mm.
right. Well, I think that's
Good.
all we got for this week.
That's the roundup for this week. Well, and we look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you for those of you who were here and joined and asked questions.
Good. All right. See y'all.
Bye.